If you're waiting for prices to crash before you buy a home, you could be making a huge mistake. Right now, homes are sitting longer than they have in years, with some over 27 days. But it doesn't mean it's a bad house. In fact, many of these are just overpriced, which gives you the power to negotiate the best deals that we have seen in a long time. But if you don't understand the market, you could either overpay or miss out on this buyer advantage as we see it right now. So let's take a look exactly at how you can go about this so you make the right move. What's up guys? Anthony Esposito with eXp Realty, your local real estate expert right here in the Cleveland, Ohio area. And if you're planning on buying or selling or relocating, I'd love to help you out. I have people just like you reaching out to me every single week. I'd love for you to do the same. You can contact me directly here or go in the description below. Use the method I have listed there. So let's find out exactly what you need to know and how you can go about it so you can make the right move in 2025. So right now, the average days on market in this area are 27 days. Now, there's other locations in Northeast Ohio that may be 50 days. Some may be 20 days. It all varies, but the average is 27 days on market. And it does not mean it's necessarily a bad house. I recently had a client that we went under contract on a house that was over 3 months on the market and it was simply overpriced. There's certain areas that are dropping a little bit in price. They kind of flatlined and they're coming down a little bit. Now, what you can do as a buyer is have your agent comp the property, see exactly where it should be. Because chances are likely, if it's sitting on the market way longer than that 27-day average, it's gonna be overpriced. And the best thing that you can do is get those comps, see what it is, make your educated decision on that offer price, and then also have your agent let the listing agent know the comps that were pulled that you guys are going off of. It just gives you more power, more negotiating skills when you are making that offer. And in the situation I was just telling you about, we got an accepted offer for way less than list price. Plus, I had seller concessions that were negotiated in there as well. Because quite frankly, it's February. We haven't hit the peak season yet. People who are selling, they need to sell. It is not a want to sell. And if their house is sitting on the market for more than that average range, they're gonna be a little bit more easy to work with and negotiate with as you are a buyer to get that house. Now, to meet market demand, sellers, we're seeing a lot of price reductions happening, which is dictating, that the demand that is out there, it's limited. It's strong, but it's limited. And I'll get into further detail of why that demand is more limited than what it was this time last year. Now, those price reductions, again, nothing may be wrong with the house. The best thing I could advise you is to see these homes in person, because something may even look fantastic in pictures. Pictures don't show everything, especially if it's one of those agents that are out there that took a picture off their cell phone. You're definitely not going to see much of the problem areas of the house. And professional photography, it shows much better, but you still cannot see certain things. You gotta see the condition of the house for your own eyes to make that determination. But price reductions, they're happening, and it's just giving you that better opportunity, especially with the way interest rates are right now. Now, having said that, inventory is still low. Currently, we're sitting around that 2.5 month mark. A balanced market is 5 to 6 months worth of inventory. So we still got a little ways to go. So it gives you a little bit of that power back. You get power back for negotiating, but it's not completely in buyer's favor. We're right in the middle between a buyer and seller market according to the MLS. And with demand still kind of holding strong, it's still going to be low inventory and not a lot to choose from. I'm curious to see what's going to happen in the coming months as the spring market kicks off and like the real estate market itself we really hit into the season to see how many homes are going to end up coming, if we're going to have a bunch of listings that are going to show up, or if sellers are still sitting in their homes because it's not a necessity for them to leave. So if they don't have a need to move out of their house or a pain point, a lot of sellers still aren't going to sell anytime soon, is what I'm foreseeing. Now, with the demand that is out there, there's a ton of pent-up demand with buyers, a ton. However, the interest rates are what is kind of shrinking the immediate demand. So there's a lot of demand that's out there for the people who want to buy a house, but they're not actually in the market yet. For you who are in the market, the demand is still strong, but those interest rates are gonna remain around the 7%. It's not, unless something dramatic happens, it's not gonna come down. I don't foresee 3 or 4% happening anytime soon. Again, anything can happen. I'm not, a wizard. I can't, just determine, look at my crystal ball and say, this is when this is going to happen. Anything's possible. These rates could go up. They could come crashing down. But for what we are seeing in the market and everything that affects mortgage rates, it's going to be holding around that 7%, upper sixes. Some of you may be able to get to the mid sixes. The nice thing about it is there's a lot of programs that are out there to buy down your rate. First-time home buyers, there's incentives for you out there. There's all sorts of different things. So it's just something that you need to speak with the lender you're dealing with, find out what incentives they have, what deals they have to help offset things. Now, with those higher interest rates, the nice thing about being able to negotiate right now is the fact that you are having money taken off of that list price, which definitely helps. And you're getting seller concessions for the most part, as long as your agent knows how to negotiate well. Like I said, I was able to get a good chunk off of the list price plus seller concessions, and it all has to do with negotiating, approaching the list agent with, the comps and approaching it the right way to get you the best deals that are out there. With those low inventory numbers that we're seeing, you may not see something out there that you like. What makes it really nice is new construction homes right now are in a higher demand than existing homes. And builders are offering a ton of different incentives. I mean, we're talking a lower fixed rate to build a brand new house. Their spec homes have even lower rate. I've seen some to where they are around 5% for a spec home, fixed 30-year conventional loan. You got to go through their lender to get these incentives, but they have a lot of great incentives. And one of the best things, because of the new buyer broker agreement, you can still get representation from me on a new build. And the builder, they cover compensation for us bringing you to them. It's kind of like them saying thank you to us. And it covers our fee, at least in my case. I can't speak for other agents, but I can still represent you through that whole process. And the nice thing is the fact that you have your normal jobs. This is my job. So during the week when all this stuff is going through, or if you have questions, I will get them answered for you. Reach out to the reps that I established relationships with all these different builders in my area. So that is a huge option that you should look into, because yes, it's going to cost more than an existing home. You may be looking at $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 plus, depending on who you build with, where you build. There's so many different factors, how many options that you add into it. But with the incentives that they're having and the amount of equity, if you own a home, if you don't own a home, obviously you don't have equity. But if you own a home, the amount of equity that could be sitting in there, more so if you purchase 2+ years, the longer you've been in there, the more equity you're going to have with the big boom that ended up hitting us. That can pay for a huge chunk, and you can get a brand new house for relatively cheap, considering. You really just got to look into the financing and see where your position's at, because everybody's situation is different. Now, the two things I want you to keep in mind is every area is completely different. So you got to know the market, or I should say your agent should know the market. If you're working with me, I'm paying attention to the market every single day. I'm studying it. Every location is different. You could have one neighborhood next to another This neighborhood over here could be $100,000 more expensive for homes compared to this neighborhood over here. The neighborhood that's, a couple minutes away, it could be flying off the shelf. The days on market could only be 2 days, 3 days, as long as the stuff is priced accordingly. But different areas, different locations are gonna have, a slower time to sell, a faster time to sell, a higher price point, a lower price point. There's so many factors that go into it. So knowing the locations, knowing the market is a huge key factor in getting you the best deal and ensuring that you still have the power to negotiate, because those areas to where they're hot, there's some cities throughout this country where they're still flying off the shelf and is a very hot market. You really don't have that much negotiating power, where others, it's full on, buyers are pretty much getting what they want. And then there's others that are in between. This area in Cleveland, some areas are hot, some areas are not, but overall on average, we're getting negotiating power back into this area, and buyers have that power in their hands. And the other thing you got to remember, whether you have purchased a home before or you're fresh to purchasing a home, a pre-approval is a must. Anytime we turn in offers now, got to have the pre-approval. That's one of the first things sellers are looking for. Where's the pre-approval with the offer? They want to make sure you can afford it, so they're not wasting their time. So you got to get that pre-approval, and the big thing is it actually lets you know what you can afford. Whatever you think you can afford, or if you use a calculator online, it's not the actual number that you can afford. That's just the estimated amount. The lender's going to let you know exactly your top dollar, and they will be able to tell you the monthly payment of that top dollar. Because if you're not comfortable with it, well, then stay under it. So if you're pre-approved for $300,000 and you only want to be around $250,000, don't look at homes that are $300,000. But you got to be realistic to the locations, to the areas of what you're going to get with the homes in the different price points. Because one location, $300,000 may be an extravagant house, where in another location, $300,000 might be a complete fixer-upper. But let me know in the comments down below how you feel about the market itself. And as a buyer, do you feel good about entering into 2025 with having negotiating power back in your pocket instead of having to give? If you got any value from the video, be sure to smash the like button. It's greatly appreciated. And again, if you're looking to buy or sell, or you're relocating, I have people like you reaching out to me every single week. I'd love to help you out as well. Contact me directly here, or go in the description below. Use one of the methods I have listed there. And if you haven't already, click subscribe, turn notifications on so you can stay up to date on all my future videos that I have coming your way.